Hello and welcome to TLBTV. My name is Lorana, and this is Write the World. This show is brought to you by TLBTV and the Liberty Beacon Project. And this is the show where we talk to all sorts of different writers and authors. We give you tricks of the trade and, of course, give you some great books to read. You will notice that today I don't have anyone joining me. It's November, which means that it's National November Writing Month, where people try to bang out an entire novel in the month of November. So needless to say, most of my author friends are super busy. I am as well. And so I thought instead that I would tell you guys some tricks of the trade I've learned, some differences between traditional publishing and self-publishing, and some game changers that are happening now and what to do about it. So let's talk first about traditional publishing versus self-publishing. Everybody, when they first start writing, thinks, I want to be traditionally published because it's super exciting and your books will be in bookstores. And maybe if you get discovered by one of the big companies, that'll happen. But for the most part, most of those companies aren't really going out and accepting new authors. So you kind of have to know an author who's already successful to get your foot even in the door. So then you have smaller companies. And smaller companies are more willing to take a risk on you, but they're not going to do as much for you. They're not going to go and push your book in bookstores because they don't have any more capability than you do. So that's sort of what happened with my book, When Love Returns. I had been accepted by a small publishing house company, and I was super excited because, hey, I could be a traditionally published author now. But when it came down to it, they did a fantastic job on my cover. They did a great job editing, but they couldn't really do any more promotion-wise than I could do on my own. And so super exciting news. I just got in contact with the publisher who agreed to let me out of my contract early because they felt I could do more on my own, and I agree. So I've actually re-released When Love Returns. It's in my name, Lorana Hopes, now instead of LL Hopes, because that was a nightmare with Amazon. If you're going to pick a pen name, pick it from the beginning and don't change because it's a nightmare to change. But I'm re-releasing it at 99 cents through the end of the year. My original intention was to leave it at 99 cents, but because of pronoun shutting down, which I'll talk about in a second, I'm going to only have it there through the end of the year, and then it's going to go to the price of $2.99. So if you're interested in that new series, make sure you grab it while you can. It's really good timing that it came out now because Under the Mistletoe, which is the anthology I'm working on with 7 other Christian authors, has a novella, Once Upon a Star, which is the second book in the Star Lake series. So you can read When Love Returns and then read Once Upon a Star. And then I'm hopefully going to have the next book finished, which I think will be titled Love Conquers All. My goal is to have it finished at the beginning of the year. We'll see. That's pretty optimistic. And so far I haven't had a lot of time to spend writing. So things with traditional publishers, you know, it is nice to get your cover, but if you pay attention, you can get a pretty good cover artist through Fiverr. If you talk to some of the other authors and find out who they're using, sometimes you can get a pretty good deal. Expect to pay, you know, about $100 for a really good cover. Sometimes you can get it a little cheaper. The first one I used through Fiverr did a really good job, and I paid like $25 or $30. But the pictures they used were stock photos, and so my pictures were the same pictures on lots of other books. So that's kind of one of the things you have to deal with. And an editor, I can't speak highly enough about an editor. There's too many people who don't run their book through any sort of editing and then throw it out there. And that's the worst mistake you can make because readers are forgiving of a few things. If there's a few typos, they're going to forgive that. But if your book is littered with it, or you have some story things that don't make sense, readers aren't going to go and check out your other works. So you have to make sure that you're putting a good product out there to begin with. And then marketing, it just kind of depends on what you're writing. Because I write inspirational romances, I have found that newsletters are the best way. And there's a couple of companies that have giant newsletters for people who are interested in those books that do really well. Blogs do not work so far from what I found. Facebook ads don't do a whole lot for me. Amazon ads don't do a whole lot for me. Building my newsletter was super important. And that's going to lead me to the next thing, which is value your books, right? A lot of people want books for free, but they don't realize how much work goes into it and how much money goes into it. I mean, not only is it a sacrifice of time to be writing, but then we have to pay for a cover and an editor and formatting, and even the places we use to distribute it, we have to pay sometimes through them. I have to pay for my newsletter list. So there's all these costs that people don't realize. So you need to make sure you value your book. I think it's okay to set one book free. I have one book that's free in my Insta freebie, but it's used to sign up for my newsletter. So if you want the book for free, you have to sign up for my newsletter. And it's the only book I have for free, because I feel like if I don't value my own work, then why are other people going to value my work? So occasionally I will do 99-cent deals, especially if it's the first book of a series or if it's pre-order, because I want people to be able to afford it. And I know there are people on tight budgets, and even $2.99, which is less than the price of coffee, is expensive for some people. So I always try to offer 99 cents, even if it's just for a week, to get those people. But then, the price goes up. And part of the reason the price goes up is because we don't, as authors, we make a piddly commission off of 99-cent books. And here's where the game changer comes in. Up until about a week ago, we had this company called Pronoun, and Pronoun would distribute to Google Play, to iBooks, to Nook, all these places, and to Amazon, and they would give you the 70% commission, even off of 99-cent books. So off of a 99-cent book, you were still making nearly 70 cents. However, Pronoun is shutting down. And Draft to Digital does now have a relationship with Amazon, but they're only going to give you 30%. Amazon will give you 35%, but that means if you set a book at 99 cents, you're making 35 cents off of every book you sell. That is not going to pay your bill very fast. And so unfortunately, that's one reason I don't set them at 99 cents for very long, because I typically end up losing more money on the promotions than I actually make. But it's good to get your name out there. And then I think, we need to realize that our work is important, and that for the price of a cup of coffee, people can buy your book. I mean, it's going to be a couple of hours of entertainment and good reading, and it's worth it. But you have to value yourself. And even if your sales slump for a little bit, you have to just keep telling yourself it's okay, it's worth it. People will eventually read them. And that's kind of the way it works. Again, you can do what you want, but this is what I'm telling you, what I have found out. So that was kind of a bummer when Pronoun was shutting down. They're going up through the end of the year, which is why When Love Returns and Under the Mistletoe will both be offered at 99 cents, at least through mid-December. But then Pronoun is shutting down at the end of, mid-January. But the end of the year, I'm going to roll everything over. And so it makes more sense now to have them through Amazon directly, because you at least make more of a commission than through Draft to Digital. And Draft to Digital doesn't have anything with Google Play right now. However, I did get in touch with Google Play, and they are opening author submissions, so you can actually get a Google Play account. So I actually have that, which is exciting, because that means that I won't lose my Google Play audience. But it's a little bit more work to have to reset it up through yet another site and keep track of that. But at least it's out there, which is really nice. Okay, so let's talk about places that you can go. So Draft to Digital is probably now the best place to set up through formatting. They will still send it to iBooks and to Nook and to Kobo and all the other places, and you still make, I think, 55%. Again, it's not the 70% you were making with Pronoun, but it's better than nothing, which is nice. And the reporting is actually really cool. The other thing that I would suggest that I just recently figured out is Amazon affiliate links. Because most of my books are actually sold through Amazon, I can create an affiliate link. So I go in and create an affiliate account, and then I can get an affiliate link for my book. That's the link I then insert in my newsletter. So then when people click on the book, I make a small percentage off of it through the affiliate link. It's not a whole lot, but it's enough to at least offset some of the costs. So affiliate links are great to look into, and especially if you're going to do newsletter swaps, you can do it with promoting other authors' works. You can do it with promoting Kindles and anything bigger. I just think it works really great for your books, because people are already going there and looking at them anyway, and it doesn't raise the price of the book for the consumer, which is super nice. And it's a way, especially when it's 99 cents, to recoup a little bit more. It isn't a whole lot, because I think you get 4 cents off of every click. So now it's 39 cents instead of 35 cents. Woohoo! But it eventually adds up, which is really nice. So Draft to Digital is probably the place where you want to go if you want to distribute wide. That means you want to distribute to more places than just Amazon. Now, if you're not serious about distributing wide, you know that most of your readers are on Amazon, then you might want to look into Kindle Unlimited. And the reason for Kindle Unlimited is people can borrow your book and you get paid based on page count reads. They're kind of messing with that system, so I can't really say that you get a lot from those page reads. But the nice thing that you do get is you can run a promotion. I think it's every 90 days. You can run a promotion and you can run a 99-cent promotion and still get the 70% royalty fee. So that actually is a benefit of Kindle Unlimited, is that you can run a deal to try to get more people to check out your book and you can still make the 70% commission. Why Amazon drops it so low if it's less than 99 cents, I don't know. I wish they would change that because it's horrendous for authors. But those are the breaks. All right, so newsletters, super important. You need to start building that list because that's where the majority of my sales come from now, is when I send out a newsletter with links, that's where I get the most clicks. So the best places to look, you can go to InstaFreebie, you can go to, I can't remember what the other one is. There's another one. I like InstaFreebie because it's pretty easy and I can put all my books up there. I can even put excerpts of books. So if people want to check out my writing before they purchase the whole book, I can put a couple of chapters up for them to read. That part's really nice. But InstaFreebie links directly to my newsletter list. And so when a person goes in and downloads my book for free, they automatically get signed up to my newsletter. So that's really cool. And it's a slow growth because I will tell you, not everyone who downloads your books for free stays. That's just a part of life. But a lot of them do. And especially if you write good, if you write good works that they enjoy, good stories, then they're going to stick around. So again, it goes back to honing your craft and making sure that it's really, really good at what you do. So you need to look into one of those places. InstaFreebie is the one that I use. I can't remember what the other one is. There's another one that's really big that I used to use, but InstaFreebie was actually cheaper. But again, you have to pay to have books on free download things, which is another thing that readers don't really understand sometimes. So other big news that's happening for me is on the 15th today, actually, when this video comes out, my first book in the Kindle world, the First Street Christian Church Kindle world, will release. It's called Love Breaks Through. I'm super excited. It's a novella. Writing for a Kindle world was fun. If you haven't done it, I would recommend it. You actually don't have to be a part of the group like I was. You can submit to anyone's Kindle world, read them before so you know kind of what the Kindle world is about, because ours is obviously Christian romances. So if you write something that's not a Christian romance, it's not going to go over well in the Kindle world. Some nice things about the Kindle world is that you kind of get a little bit of extra publicity because people who already know the world exists and they like that sort of fan fiction will go and check your book out. And if it does really well, then Kindle will do some extra promotions for you. Some downsides, Kindle sets the price. You don't get to set the price. As long as you hit over, I think it's 10,000 words, you get $1.99 and you make 35% of that. So again, you don't make a whole lot off the top. But if the promotion works, and again, if you write good stories that people enjoy, you can submit a lot of times to these Kindle worlds and you have this little platform. You can't submit your story anywhere else. So it can't be on InstaFreebie. You can't put it in book print. You can't go put it on Google Play or Nook or Kobo or anything else, because then you'd be in violation. And they own anything you put in there. So you want to make sure that you don't put in anything that you want to use elsewhere, because you can't do that. So yeah, there's some drawbacks to it, but it was actually really fun getting to write in a Kindle world, and especially in Melissa's, because it was super cool getting to use her characters. And I'll do it again, definitely. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I liked the story that was there. It's going to follow Sam, who's a mechanic. She's a woman mechanic. And then Brent, who's this author who's sort of struggling with his wife's death, and he's kind of become rough, I guess is the nicest word to say. But he's got some, notions that aren't totally true. And so when he gets stranded in Sweet Grove and realizes he has to work with a female mechanic, he's not super excited about that. But he has no other choice, really. And then because there's a festival going on, all the hotels are booked up and he has no place to stay, which ends up with him actually having to crash at her apartment with her house with her. And over the weekend, they sort of start to bond. But if you want to know what's going to happen, you're going to have to read the book. See, isn't that fun when we do that? All right, so other news. Under the Mistletoe is out for pre-order, and we're working on getting the paperback together because there are 8 novellas in it. It's going to run like 600 and 700 pages. So it is going to be kind of pricey if you want to actually purchase the print book. I think it's going to be between $22 and $24. I'll know a little bit more when I get the total files into CreateSpace, but if you like having a paper book, we will have that option available so that you can have a paper book. Otherwise, you can pre-order it now for just 99 cents. And I think that's going to run through, it releases on the 1st of December. So I think that's going to run for at least the week after. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to the other authors to see if we're going to leave it or till the end of the year and raise it at the new year. I'm not really sure. But it is up now, and you can take advantage of the special price right now. That was also super fun. So if you get a chance to write with some other authors, I would do it, because yes, there were some hard things where we were waiting for people to get their stuff in. Sometimes it was me because I was running really late because it's been super busy at work. But it was really fun overall, and I think we'll probably do some more stuff in the future. And it's nice to have other people to collaborate with. They have different readers than you do, so that's super helpful. Another thing that you can do to try and get out to different people is newsletter swaps. So find an author who writes in a similar genre and then trade your book with them and say, hey, I'll promote your book if you promote my book, because they may have some readers who follow them that don't follow you yet. I say yet because hopefully they'll read your stuff and then they'll be like, yes, I have to get some more. All right, so this one's going to be kind of short, short and sweet, but I did want to talk about just some of the steps. So when you finish your manuscript, you're not done ever. The first thing I would do is let an editor read it. And I want to say yes, get a professional editor, but it's super expensive. So even if you have a friend who has a pretty good grasp on grammar, and that's all you can afford right now, please have them do that. It is really helpful if you get a story editor to make sure that your content makes sense and there's not holes, because even as good as we are, sometimes we have, the wrong days or we've used the wrong name or whatever. And those story editors will pick those up. So it's definitely worth it to have a story editor. Get a good cover designer. And then you can actually upload everything yourself through CreateSpace, through Amazon directly, through Draft to Digital. I used to use a program called... I can't even remember it now because I haven't had to use it in so long. I'll think about it. I used to use a program, though, that did formatting for me. And it was super nice because it had more options than Draft to Digital does. But it cost me about $100 for every book I wanted to format. And Draft to Digital does it for free. So I'm hopeful that they'll get some more designs in the future. But for right now, if you're just starting out, use Draft to Digital's free designer, because that way you can get your EPUB and your Mobi and you don't have to pay for them, because otherwise it gets kind of spendy. Pressbooks, that's what I used, Pressbooks. And Pressbooks is great. They have a lot, like I said, a lot more options. You have to break everything into chapters, which I didn't like, because then if I needed to go back and fix something, I had to be like, what chapter is it in? And I had to scroll through it. So that was kind of tricky, but then really the price was just the biggest thing for me. So once you get your story done, okay, then you can upload it through CreateSpace, you can upload it through Amazon, you can upload it through Draft to Digital if you choose not to go into Kindle Unlimited. If you go into Kindle Unlimited, you're not supposed to put it anywhere else. That's sort of against the agreement. And then you just kind of sit back and run some promotions, talk about your books. I know it's hard, but if you don't talk about your books, nobody else is going to talk about your books either. But get on like an Insta freebie promo. Get a free book out there for people to look at, even if you just write a short story, just so people can kind of see the way you write. And if you're engaging, then they'll look at your other books. Okay, so have something that they can look at to kind of see if you're the type of writer that they like, that they're looking for. And then, you can look at some promotional ideas. If you have questions, if you want to know specifically like some of the places that I've used, feel free to comment on this video, and I'll make sure and answer your questions. You can also contact me on my Facebook page through personal message, and I am pretty good at responding to those quickly. So if you write Christian romance and you're like, hey, where have you found that are good places, I will happily answer for you. I don't feel the need to hide them all in secrecy, because that doesn't help anybody. If you write other genres, I'm probably not going to have as many things for you, because that's not what I write. But if you have questions, I will happily answer any questions that you have. I'm super excited that I got to have a little bit of time with you guys today. This one's going to be a little shorter because it's just me, so it's hard to talk for 30 minutes and I don't want to bore you guys. But I wanted to make sure and have something so I could tell you a little bit about my books and what's happening with me. So the Heartbeat series has 4 books. You can check those out now. The Power of Prayer, Where It All Began, When Hearts Collide, and A Father's Love. When Love Returns just got re-released. So again, it's 99 cents till the end of the year, and I should have the paperback up this week, which is awesome. So if you like paperbacks, you can do that as well. Under the Mistletoe is also pre-order for 99 99¢. And then I have 3 kids books out. I'm working on the 4th one now, but if you have kids, and especially if they're fans of like the Magic Tree House or other small chapter books, I'm pretty sure they'll like the Wishing Stone, so you can check those out too. I couldn't put them for 99¢ on Amazon because, again, it's another weird thing with Amazon, but they are offered on 99¢ through some of the other retailers. So if you want to, I'll put the drop to digital links so you can see, and if you can purchase them from somewhere other than Kindle, feel free. Otherwise, you can get the paperback books. There's both the color version and a black and white version because I found that the black and white version is a little cheaper and people like that. So I do have both. And I think if you buy the black and white version, you get the ebook for free. So that's kind of a way that you could have it both in color and in black and white, which is quite cool. And then I'm working on a couple of new books. So I'm working on this book called The Still Small Voice, which is actually not going to be a romance. It's going to be more of like a, I don't want to call it science fiction, but it's going to be sort of a fantasy kind of war between good and evil. And I'm hoping to finish that around the 1st of the year. And then, of course, I'm working on Love Conquers All right now. That's the tentative title. Not sure if that's what's going to stay, but that's the tentative title. And then I'm working on book 4 of The Wishing Stone, which is going to be called Pyramid Puzzles, where they go to ancient Egypt. So I'm excited about that. It's about halfway done, and then I got to send it to my illustrator. So I will make sure and have links for you guys so you can find me. If you want to join my newsletter, I'll put that link there too, because if you do, I run contests and things for my readers. If you're interested, you can also join my street team. I do special contests for them as well. So I will make sure and have all those links, and hopefully I can find another author to interview for you guys next week, but it's November. I can't guarantee it because we're all like busy to the grindstone. But until then, thanks for joining me, and be sure and check out the links. If you have questions, be sure and send me a message, and I will see you right here next week for another edition of Write the World.